So at the end of this module, you are expected to know the ICT career opportunities, explain the code of ethics for IT professionals, familiarize with the common applications used by the ICT professionals, and understand the ACM membership. Okay, so let's begin with the ICT career opportunities. So it is very evident that technology in the recent years have taken over the economy and our lives. So from the smartphones that we use every day to the more complex machines and operating system used in business, IT is pretty much used everywhere. So kahit saan ka magpunta, meron na tayong mga IT is everywhere. So for this reason, the demand for skilled ICT professionals have increased in the past few years. So kahit saan ka magpunta, meron silang hinahire na IT. So as an IT student, you are the IT student, you should be able to know the different career opportunities in your field. So this can help you set up your goals as you choose your career path in the future. So dapat alam mo rin kung ano yung career opportunities na pwede mong puntahan once you graduated in IT. So we have here the different ICT career opportunities. We have the first one is you can be an application developer. So an application developer is someone who develops application for computers. So they basically write computer programs using different programming languages. Ito naman yung nagpa-program, nagka-create ng mga application. So programming languages are tools used by application developer to develop applications. So an application developer is known by many names. So this includes the computer programmer, the system developer. You can also be called as the software engineers and software developer. So you can develop application for the web, for the standalone PCs, and even mobile devices. So the application you develop varies depending on the company you are working for in the future. So some develop business applications and websites, while some are developing games. So pag ang career opportunity na gusto mong puntahan is developing a software, dito ka sa application developer. Then you can also be a database administrator. So a database administrator naman are those who are in charge in companies database. So a database is where all the important data and information of the company is stored. So this includes the financial information of the company, the strategy of the company, and other information about the company. So if one of the tasks of the database administrator is to keep all this data and information secured, part of your task is to maintain and back up databases in case of hardware failure. So just in case kailangan may mga hardware failures, so ikaw yung magba-backup ng mga files. Yun ang role mo as the database administrator. Then, you can also be a data analyst. So a data analyst collects and stores data on sales numbers, market research, logistics, linguistics, or other behaviors. So you can bring technical expertise to ensure the quality and accuracy of that data. And then process, design, and present it in ways to help people, business, and organization make better decisions. So that is a data analyst. Then, you can also be a web developer. So, yung una kasi, Yung una na minention natin na application developer, that is in general. Pero kung gusto mo nakafocus lang sa web developer, it's still possible. So a web developer is similar to an application developer. The difference is that a web developer focus on the websites only. So yun lang naman yung pagkakaiba. Pag web developer ka, nakafocus ka lang sa website. So they are, or you are responsible for creating and designing web pages. So those people are usually knowledgeable in using scripting languages such as the HTML or the CSS. So yan ang role ni web developer. Then you can also be a network engineer once you graduated in IT. So network engineer, the task of a network engineer is to maintain or is to work with a company's computer network using information technology to make a network system for all employees to use. That's the network engineer. So these data networks can include the local area networks, the wide area networks, intranets, and extranets. So pag network engineer ka, mas nakafocus ka sa hardware or sa network connection ng company. But ang problema niya, kailangan mong i-maintain yung connection ng bawat isa. Yan. Okay? So those are the career opportunities for IT. Again, we have the application developer. You can also be a database administrator, a data analyst, a web developer, and you can also be a network engineer. Okay, so let's proceed with the code of ethics. So ano ba yung mga code of ethics for ICT professionals? So the ACM, or the Association for Computing Machinery, is a well-known organization for computing professionals. So they deliver sources that advances computing as a science and as a profession. So enable the professional development and promote policies and research that benefit society. So an ICT professional's action can affect the society. So this can either be in good way or in bad way. So in this regard, an ICT professional should be responsible enough with his or her action. So this is the reason why the ACM designed the ACM Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. So this serves as a guide on how ICT professionals should use technology in the ethical way. So parang ito kasi yung dapat ina-apply natin as mga IT graduate. So the ACM Code of Ethics for Professional has 4 parts. We have the general ethical principle. We have also the professional responsibilities, the professional leadership principles, and compliance with the Code of Ethics, or with the code. So for the general ethical principle, so a computing professional, you as a graduate of BSIT in the future, you should contribute to society and to human well-being, acknowledging that all people are stakeholders in computing. So this principle, which concerns the quality of life of all people, affirms an obligation of computing professionals, so both individually and collectively, to use their skills for the benefit of society, its members, and environment surrounding them. So lahat tayo ay stakeholders. Then, avoid harm. So general ethical principle, you should avoid harm. So in this document, harm means negative consequences, especially when those consequences are significant and unjust. Example of harm include unjustified physical or mental injury, unjustified destruction or disclosure of information, and unjustified damage to property, reputation, and environmental. His list is not exhaustive. So when well-intended actions, including those that accomplish assigned duties, may lead to harm. So as much as possible, avoiding harm begins with careful consideration of potential impacts on all those affected by decision. So when harm is intentional part of the system, those responsible are obligated to ensure that the harm is ethically justified. So in either case, ensure that all harm is minimized. So we should avoid harm. So in using ICT or as an ICT professional, we should avoid harm to others. For example, yung mga fake news na yan. So, pag nag-share ka ng fake news, so pwede ka na rin makaharm makaharm ng ibang tao. Then, be honest and trustworthy. So, honesty is an essential component of trustworthiness. So, computing professional should be transparent and provide full disclosure of all pertinent system capabilities, limitations, and potential problems to the appropriate parties. So, making deliberately false or misleading claims, publicating or falsifying data, offering or accepting bribes and other dishonest conduct are violation of the code. So you should be honest and trustworthy. So computing professionals should be honest about their qualification and about any limitation in their competence to complete a task. For example, pag tinanong ka, marunong ka bang mag-set up ng network? So in yourself, hindi ka naman talaga marunong. Pero just to get the job, sasabihin mong marunong ka. So pagdating ng job, pag naland ka na dun sa job na yun, hindi mo na alam kung anong gagawin mo. So you should be honest. So computing professional should not mispresent an organization policies or procedure and should not speak on behalf of the organization unless authorized to do so. Then, be fair, take action not to discriminate. So the values of equality, tolerance, respect for others, and justice govern this principle. Fairness requires that even careful decision processes provide some avenue for redress of grievances. So computing professionals should foster fair participation of all people, including those with those of the underrepresented groups, prejudicial discrimination on the basis of age, the color, disability, ethnicity. So kahit anong lahi ka pa, yan, your family status, your gender, identity, membership, so everything, your sexual orientation and other inappropriate factor is an explicit violation of the code of harassment. So you should be fair and avoid discrimination. So the use of information and technology may cause new or enhance existing inequities. So technological and practices should be inclusive and accessible as possible. And computing professionals should take action to avoid creating systems of technologies that enfranchise or oppress people. So failure to design inclusiveness and accessibility may constitute unfair discrimination. So you should be fair and take action not to discriminate. Then, respect the work required to produce new ideas, inventions, creative works, and computing artifacts. So developing new ideas, inventions, creative works, and computing artifacts creates value for society, and those who expend this effort should expect to gain value from their work. Baka mamaya, yung ginawa ng katrabaho mo, sasabihin mo, ikaw ang gumawa. Then, computing professionals should therefore credit the creators of ideas. So, everything, lahat ng nilalagay mo, kung hindi naman sa'yo, you should acknowledge the creator. and respect copyrights, patents, trade secrets, license agreements, and other methods of protecting authors' work. So just for example, sana kayo kung magde-develop na kayo ng system in your capstone project, so always acknowledge kung kinuha mo yung code na yon doon sa dating researcher, so you should acknowledge him as part of the developing your system. That is, respect the work required to produce new ideas. Ayan. Then respect privacy. So the responsibility of respecting privacy applies to computing professionals in a particular profound way. So technology enables the collection, the monitoring, and exchange of personal information quickly, so inexpensively, and often without the knowledge of the people affected. So you should respect the privacy. Then, you should also honor confidentiality. So pag sinabing confidential, hindi pwedeng ipakita sa iba since you are the IT, kailangan mong malaman yun, makuha yung information. So wag mong i-disclose sa ibang tao. So computing professionals are often entrusted with confidential information such as trade secrets, client data, non-public business strategies, financial information, research data, per-publication, scholarly articles, and patent applications. So computing professionals should protect confidentiality except in cases where it is evidence of the violation of the law. So dapat i-apply niyo yung honor confidentiality. Sa isang organization kasi usually ang mga financial statement alam din ng mga IT yan. So hindi pwedeng i-disclose sa ibang tao. So computing professionals should consider thoughtfully whether such as disclosure are consistent with the code. So that is the general ethical principle of ICT professional. Then, we have also a computing professional or the professional responsibilities. So a computing professional should strive to achieve high quality in both the processes and products of professional work. So computing professionals should insist on and support high quality work from themselves and from the colleagues. So the dignity of employers, the employees, the colleagues, the clients, the users, and anyone else affected either directly or indirectly by the work should be respected throughout the process. So computing professionals should respect the right of those involved to transparent communication about the project. So professionals should be cognizant of any serious negative consequences affecting any stakeholder that may result from poor quality work and should resist inducement to neglect their responsibility. So they're always strive to achieve a high quality output. Then, maintain high standards of professional competence, conduct, and ethical practice. So high quality computing depends on individuals and teams who take personal and group responsibility for acquiring and maintaining a professional competence. So professional competence start with technical knowledge and with awareness of the social context in which they work may be deployed. So professional competence also requires skill in communication, its reflective analysis, in recognizing the navigating ethical challenges. So you should maintain high standards of professional competence. So dapat ang gagawin mo once you graduated, IT is an ending process. So mag-upgrade kayo, kailangan nyo magpa-certify para maging competent kayo. Then, accept and provide appropriate professional review. So, high-quality professionals work in computing depends on professional review at all stages. So, whether appropriate Computing professionals should seek and utilize peer and stakeholder review. So, di ba, pag may mga pag may mga system tayo, so kahit magaling ka ng IT, you have to present, you have to let your system be criticized. Kasi hindi naman perfect yung magagawa nating system. At merong makikita na kailangan ng improvement. Then, accept and provide appropriate professional review. So high quality professional work in computing depends on professional review at all stages. So whether appropriate, computing professionals should seek and utilize peer and stakeholder review. So computing professionals should also provide constructive, critical reviews of others' work. So ang makakaintindi lang naman doon sa ginawa mo as ICT professional is yung kapwa mo din na ICT professional. So that is a professional responsibility. Then we have also a give comprehensive and thorough evaluation of computer systems and their impacts, including analysis of possible risks. So computing professionals are in position of trust and therefore have a special responsibility to provide objective, credible evaluations and testimony to employers, employees, the clients, and users and the public. So computing professionals should strive to be perceptive, true, and objective when evaluating, recommending, and presenting system descriptions and alternatives. Then, perform work only in areas of competence. So kung ano lang yung specialties mo, yun ka lang dapat. So a computing professional is responsible for evaluating potential work assignments. This includes evaluating the work feasibility and advisability and making judgment about whether the work assignment is within the professional areas of competence. So if at any time before or during the work assignment, the professional identifies a lack of necessary expertise. So pag hinar ka kasi dun sa work na yon, dapat alam mo kung ano yung job description, dapat competent ka to do the task or the work. Then, foster public awareness and understanding of computing related technologies and their consequences. So as appropriate to the context and one's abilities, computing professionals should share technical knowledge with the public, foster awareness of computing, and encourage understanding of computing. So this communication with the public should be clear, respectful, and welcoming. So important issues include the impact of computer systems, their limitations, their vulnerability, and other opportunities that they present. So additionally, computing professionals should respectfully address inaccurate or misleading information related to the computing. Then access computing and communication. Access computing and communication resources only when authorized or when compelled by the public good. So individuals and organizations have the right to restrict access to the system and data. So long as the restrictions are consistent with other principles in the code. So kung bawal yun, ayan, so inform lang yung mga employees. Then, design and implement systems that are robustly and usably secure. So breaches of computer security cause harm. So robust security should be a primary consideration when designing and implementing a system. So computing professionals should perform due diligence to ensure the system function as intended and take appropriate action to secure resources against accidental and intentional misuse, modification, and denial of service. So that is design and implement systems that are robustly and usably secure. Then professional ICT as professional leadership principles. So, as a computing professional, especially when acting as a leader, you should ensure that the public good is the central concern during all professional computing work. So, ginagawa mo yon for the good of your, for the goodness of your co-worker, of your colleagues. So, articulate, encourage acceptance of acceptance of and evaluate fulfillment of social responsibilities by the members of the organization. Then, manage personnel and resources to enhance the quality of working life. Then articulate, apply, and support policies and processes that reflect the principles of the code. So whatever you did, so you apply the code of ethics in IT. So create opportunities for members of the organization or group to grow as professionals. So pag mayroon kang alam, dapat isi-share mo rin sa kasama mo. Huwag mong sosolohin na ikaw lang yung dapat na may alam doon. Paano pag bigla kang nag-resign? So paano yung organization na maiiwan mo? Then use care when modifying or retiring system. Then recognize and take special care of systems that become integrated into the infrastructure of the society. So compliance with the code. So computing professionals should uphold, promote, and respect the principles of the code. So the future of computing depends on both technical and ethical excellence. So computing professional should adhere to the principle of the code and contribute to improving them. So computing professional who recognize breaches of the code should take action to resolve the ethical issues they recognize, including when reasonable, expressing their concern to the person or persons thought to be violating the code. Then treat violation of the code as inconsistent with membership in the ACM. So each ACM member should encourage and support adherence by all the computing professional regardless of ACM membership. So ACM members who recognize a breach of the code should consider reporting the violation of the ACM, which may result in remedial action as specified in the ACM Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct Enforcement Policy. So what are the application of ICT professionals? So ano yung mga, as an ICT professional is often exposed to a lot of applications as it is parts of their day-to-day job. It is important that you are familiar with the common application used by the ICT professionals. So dapat familiar ka dito. Or familiar kayo dito. Here are some of the application used by the ICT. We have the word processing application. So dapat familiar ka. Alam mo kung paano mag-italize or mga simple na formatting lang using word application. Dapat you are familiar. So word processing applications such as MS Word, Pages, and Writer are just some application used by the ICT professional when creating a document. So you may find this application installed on every computer in an ICT workplace. Then, email application. So dapat marunong kang mag-attach ng file, mag-send ng file. So email have since become a common tool for ICT professional in sending messages or files. So ICT professional use often an application in order to handle this. So application like the MS Outlook have been commonly used by the ICT professional. It has a lot of features to make sending and receiving emails a breeze. Then, web browser. So, dapat alam mo rin yung mga web browser na pwedeng gamitin. So, ano ba yung web browser? So, ito yung software na ginagamit natin to read a file in the internet. Just like the Google Chrome, the Mozilla Firefox. So, tawag doon ay web browser. So, internet is something the ICT professional use in daily work. So whether they are researching for the current trends in the ICT industry or accessing cloud services like Dropbox and Google Docs, so in accessing the internet, a web browser is used. So a web browser is an application that is used to access the internet. So popular web browsers, we have the Google Chrome and the Mozilla Firefox. Then spreadsheet application. So aside from the word processing, you should also know the spreadsheet applications. Example lang as spreadsheet, we have the MS Excel. Ayan. So we have also the Google spreadsheet. Then presentation software. So dapat marunong din kayong gumamit nito. So oftentimes, and ICT professional make use of presentation application when presenting a business proposal to clients or sales reports in the office. So popular presentation software, we have the MS PowerPoint. Then you should also know the PDF reader. So our purpose of ICT is to minimize the use of paper. So this is to avoid stacks of paper in the office. So para ma-avoid yun kasi maliit lang yung file na kinakain ng PDF. So dapat marunong kayong mag-convert ng Word into PDF. Then antiviruses, computer viruses, and other threats are some of the problems that an ICT professional may encounter. So that is why having an antivirus software installed is something that an ICT professional use. So this kind of application help prevent a computer from being damaged by any kind of computer viruses. So dapat marunong ka rin mag-set up, marunong ka rin mag-install ng antivirus in your computer. So those are the applications used or should be common to ICT professionals. Then let's proceed with the benefits of ACM membership. So ACM have several online resources for lifelong learning, including the online courses targeted toward essential IT skills and popular certifications, the online books, videos, ayan. So lahat yan may provide using the ACM membership. Then you will have the option to subscribe to the full ACM digital library, which includes over 2 million pages of text. Then a subscription to some ACM magazines and journals. Then special discounts and access to valuable products and service through the ACM's insurance and discounts and special offers programs. So those are the benefits of being ACM members. But don't forget to be told to apply the ethics in IT once you graduated in your course DSIT or DSCS.